Welcome to the CPG Insiders Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mark Young, and the co-host, Justin Gerard. And Justin, I got to tell you, I want people to not buy into the noise that you're hearing in the mainstream media that business is horrible and things are terrible and no one's out spending money, because none of those things are true.
It's not true.
And I'm going to give people a quick example of this. The quick example was 2008.
Oh, boy.
You were just a child.
That's true. Yeah. No. I was 21 maybe.
2008, and the market came to a crash. Lehman Brothers was going out of business. The world was falling. The stock market lost half its value. People were ready to jump out of windows.
Mm-hmm.
This is what was so amazing. What was so amazing was the entire economy was on fire. And at the exact same time, there were 6-hour wait lines at the Apple store to buy the new iPhone. Because iPhone was a new thing then.
Yeah, sure was.
And I was there, and the lineups were, the lines were unbelievable all the way through the malls.
Yep.
Now, my point here is, and I can show you multiple examples of this. I'll give you another example. Another example was 1983, 1984. The economy was completely in the ditch.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a waiting list to get the new breakthrough Chevrolet Corvette. The Gen 4 Corvette, the first Corvette with the digital dashboard, and waiting list to get that car.
Mm-hmm.
Where my point is, regardless of how terrible the economy is always there for an innovative product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and consumers are always going to spend their money on things they value. They may be paying attention to their spending more, but they're always going to pay for what they truly value.
So if you make an innovative product that people just feel they need in their life, will a down economy affect you? Yeah, there'll be some people who won't buy it. Mm-hmm. It won't matter.
Right.
You're going to sell plenty.
Mm-hmm.
Corvette couldn't build cars fast enough.
Yep.
Apple couldn't build phones fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't really relevant how many people didn't buy, because they couldn't fill what they had anyways.
Right. Yes.
So don't listen to all the noise. Focus on you. Focus on your company. Focus on your product. Focus on your innovation. Focus on making that product that people can't live without.
Amen.
Now, we're going to talk about the Maha movement. 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, I was at the Nourishing Change conference.
Mm-hmm.
Simultaneously with that, my son Mark was at the Maha conference, and I couldn't be in two places at once. Otherwise, I'd have went to both of them. But let me tell you what happened. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Nourishing Change. Nourishing Change was a conference where competing grocery stores came together. So Kroger and Hy-Vee and Giant Eagle and Publix. And so companies who compete viciously with each other for business in some markets all came together for the purpose of finding out, how do we help make America healthy again, which is what Maha stands for.
And I would love for you to take a step back, and for any of our listeners who don't know, can you give a high-level explanation of what Maha is?
So Maha was started by Bobby Kennedy.
Okay.
And it is a play on MAGA.
Mm-hmm.
President Trump ran under Make America Great Again. Bobby Kennedy ran under Make America Healthy Again. And this is when Bobby was running for president as an independent. We managed to people I know we all work together to get them together, to be honest with you. And Bobby went to work for President Trump. He is now the head of HHS, Health and Human Services, which means he's in charge of everything. FDA, FTC, everything that is to do with health is under him.
Okay.
He is the guy.
Okay.
I can tell you this. Many people are trying to politicize the Maha movement. And that's because there is so much hate in the marketplace for Donald Trump. So the Maha movement is getting tainted by Trump's existence because it's Trump's administration that's trying to push it through.
Mm-hmm.
And because of this, we have people in America right now that are vehemently opposed to making America healthy. And they're opposed to making America healthy only because I hate Trump and Trump said it.
It's unfortunate. But what are some of the elements of this movement? What's on the agenda? What is Bobby trying to do?
So he's got a big list of goals.
Okay.
He wants to get to the bottom line of why is Alzheimer's out of control? Why is diabetes out of control?
Yep.
He wants to get to the bottom of why do we have 1 in 31 children now having autism?
Yep.
When I was in school many centuries ago, it was 1 in 10,000.
Yeah.
Can you imagine 1 in 10,000? Now it's 1 in 31. And if you're in California, it's like 1 out of 20.
Well, and I just read a stat, I think it was released last year by the CDC, that says that 6 in 10 adults in the United States have a chronic disease that's related to poor diet.
Absolutely. So going on with that, what else is Bobby trying to do? He's trying to eliminate unnecessary things from our food supply. Okay. Do we really need risky food colors? Is it really important that the Skittles are bright red?
Right.
Makes it better marketing, but should marketing take over? Should marketing trump killing people?
Right. Health. Yeah.
So can we get the food coloring out? Can we get the high fructose corn syrup out? Can we get the seed oils out?
So it's really paying attention to ingredients and labels, clean.
Very focused on it. Can we expedite how fast supplements and nutrition and open up those channels so that we can start to move people away from pharmaceuticals and move them to better food choices and move them to better health choices? Another part of the Maha movement is to stop the SNAP program, which is the government's nutritional supplement program, supplemental nutrition for children and families, and simply stop those bridge cards and SNAP cards from being able to purchase things like soda,
right,
and chips and cookies and Twinkies.
Okay.
Because these are empty calories.
Yeah, these are not good for you.
And here's the point. I'm not here to do a health message. Now, the reality is I've done health podcasts for years, and I'm what would be called a biohacker. But I'm not here to tell you this is how I eat and you need to do what I'm doing. What I am telling you is, here's what I want you to do. Go dig up some photographs, family pictures from the 70s.
Right.
Not that far back.
Mm-hmm.
Go dig up some family pictures from the 70s and tell me how many people are obese.
Right.
Now, if you go dig up pictures from the 50s, those people look like they've been starved compared to the way people look today.
Well, and as you know, most chronic diseases come from inflammation, and obesity is a major cause of inflammation.
So the whole Maha movement is, how do we help people make better food choices?
Okay. So
the reason we're talking about this today, folks, is this is not a flash in the pan.
Mm-mm.
This has momentum.
Yes.
This is a train rolling down the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a train rolling down the tracks that will go on past Donald Trump.
This administration, absolutely.
Absolutely. This will go
Yes.
past this 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, because it's not only an administration, I'll say trend. Consumers are looking for it already too. Again,
It's an
looking at some,
awakening.
you're right. Looking at some statistics, 74% of U.S. consumers say they're actively trying to eat healthier. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
74%. So 61% of shoppers are choosing food products specifically because of the health claims on the label. So this is a movement that is already happening from the consumer base, and now it's the administration is giving it the momentum to push it forward.
So we look at Shake Shack
Mm-hmm.
and what's the other one? The Shake Shack and Shake and Steak.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Confuse those two sometimes.
Steak and shake. Yeah.
Both of those franchises have now announced that all their French fries will now be cooked in beef tallow.
See,
It's more expensive.
it is. It's
It
great
actually is
health.
tastier,
It is tastier.
and we've gotten rid of the seed oil. So those two restaurants are getting rid of the seed oils. It will only be a matter of time before the big guys are forced into it.
Oh, for sure. And getting back around to where you started this conversation, you were just at a conference of Nourishing Change where you have the biggest grocery chains in the United States are coming together to push forward on a lot of these movements. So these are things that are happening at the shelf level now. This is a retail movement. If you want to play in that space, you've got to play their game now.
So a lot of innovative new products at Nourishing Change.
Cool.
Like one of the big pushes that we're all after right now is the reduction of microplastics.
Mm-hmm.
We're now finding that the average person is eating a credit card per week.
It's crazy.
I mean, think about it. You wouldn't pull a credit card out and eat it.
Not really. Not by choice.
The average person is eating a credit card worth of plastic a week.
Oh,
Now, let me back that up. It's not all ingested through eating. Some of it is through
yeah.
breathing too,
Yeah. Right.
because particulate matter
Mm-hmm.
has it too from particulate matter that comes from tires.
Right.
But regardless, we're all consuming a credit card per week. Now, why does this matter? Because some of those microplastics don't pass through the body.
Right.
And they start becoming things like gallstones, and they contribute to gallstones and kidney stones, and they can do all kinds of different damages.
Yeah.
So what are all the things we can do to eliminate this? I saw a young guy with a new company at Nourishing Change. He has a chewing gum out that is 100% non-plastic, because most chewing gums have plastic in them.
Right. Right.
I think he's going to do well with this.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And saw energy drinks with no caffeine and no sugar and no taurine,
Mm-hmm.
and snack foods with no seed oils and no high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah.
So the real issue becomes, what is it in your product line? What can you do that will lean into this trend, that will give you the advantage?
And not only lean into it, but for some of the brands out there, it's understanding what regulations are coming. And some of you might have to reformulate, as you mentioned, with some of these elements that are being cut.
Well,
Right.
think about this. In Europe,
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's French fries have 3 ingredients:
Okay.
potatoes, tallow, and salt.
Sounds like a good French fry.
McDonald's French fries in the US have 12 ingredients.
Wow. It's unnecessary.
That's the point.
Yeah, it's unnecessary.
So what can you do with your product? So if you're in the food space,
Right.
what can you do to reduce the chemicals, have fewer ingredients, have organic ingredients, Eliminate preservatives, eliminate food colorings. Uh, there's a big movement for trying to figure out how to get glyphosate out
Mm-hmm.
of food. Glyphosate's causing all kinds of problems, and it's all over the place. How do we get rid of that? Now, let's move to topical products. Part of the movement in the Maha movement, and there's 4 new Maha movies that will be premiering this week.
Oh,
Part of the process is don't put anything on your body that you wouldn't put in your body. Because your skin's the largest organ, and it's now being referred to as the second mouth.
mm-hmm.
So now you're going to see people that are not going to want to take a body lotion that's got 15 different chemicals that they can't pronounce
Right.
and rub it all over.
Right.
I just talked to a new vendor recently who is making body lotion out of tallow.
There you go. It's a great product.
Now, is tallow the only thing to make a body lotion out of? No.
No.
Emu oil makes a good body lotion. There's lots of ways. Aloe makes a good body lotion. There's lots of ways to do it.
Yeah.
But how do you do it without it being pumped full of chemicals?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk about your supplement lines. You and I take a lot of supplements.
We do.
They're not all created equal, are they?
No, not even close.
How many supplements have you looked at where the fillers
Oh,
are bad, where you can't buy it because of
yeah.
the inactive fillers in the vitamin?
I can't tell you how many.
Magnesium stearate,
Right.
cellulose, and just junk to fill the pills up.
Mm-hmm. It's like, nope, not putting that in my body. You actually
Okay,
get poisoning
so-
from that.
So if you're in that supplement space, how do you clean that up? By the way, we know that we have this major problem with diabetes in America. And we know the biggest driver behind the diabetes is actually the obesity.
Yes.
We know that the major driver behind the obesity is empty carbohydrates.
Mm-hmm.
So, as an example, if you're making a product with high fructose corn syrup, replace it with cane sugar.
Right. Just get real sugar.
Actual cane sugar, especially if it was organic cane sugar,
Right.
would be better than
Yep.
dumping in high fructose corn syrup.
Yep.
And
Body processing
consumers will
problem.
recognize this.
Yes. 100%. Now, I also read, and I want you to correct me because this is literally the world that you're living in today. Is part of what we're talking about? Isn't Bobby trying to work with the FDA, for lack of a better term, to redefine healthy claims?
Yes.
Okay. Can you speak on that?
Sure. So there's 2 problems with health claims. One of the problems with health claims is a lot of big ag, big food companies who make food claims that are false.
Mm.
So, as an example, cookies with 40% less fat.
Sorry.
I'm sure the cookie is made with 40% less fat than their regular cookie.
Right.
Okay? Now, here's the issue. We need fats.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the right fat or the wrong fat?
Right.
Is it 40% less canola oil? So I'm only 60% poisoning myself.
Right.
Or is it 40% less grass-fed tallow,
Right.
which means I just deprived myself of omega-3
Right.
going into my body?
Very different.
So that's the first problem. So the first problem is making claims that lure people into bad behavior. Because here's what we know. When you sell cookies with 40% less fat, people eat 50% more cookies.
Mm-hmm. Sure do.
And when you sell potato chips that say 40% less fat, they eat 50% more potato chips.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not solving a problem. Now, the other side of that is, how can we start to give people health claims that the FDA has been preventing for years.
Interesting.
Because think about all the things that we've worked on that can do miraculous things, but the FDA won't let us tell anybody.
For the monograph.
Right. So now the question becomes, part through Bobby's work, is how do we get to tell people this? So I thought I'll give you a little anecdote that was really funny, give you insight into Bobby. Somebody took a picture of Bobby mixing up dangerous drugs on an airplane.
Dangerous drugs like arsenic?
Well, remember Bobby was a heroin addict.
Yes, I do.
Over 20 years ago. Still goes to meetings every day.
Yeah.
He's super fit, super physically fit and healthy. These people saw him putting a mysterious blue drops into a glass of water.
Was it methylene blue?
It was methylene blue. He was drinking methylene blue drops in a glass of water before the plane took off. Before he got exposed to radiation.
That's exactly what I do. That and a glass of molecular hydrogen, and I'm good to go.
But this is the nonsense that you hear.
Yeah.
He's still on drugs. This must be like some kind of blue mescaline. No, you idiots. He understands supplementation.
Right. And we want to make sure that everybody gets that same education so you can understand.
So this is really new for us to have somebody in HHS who even knows what methylene blue is.
Oh, for sure. I mean, as you know, I was battling a little bit of a cold. Well, yesterday I went and got a methylene blue drip as an ozone 10 pass and started to feel better today. And most people have no idea what I'm talking about right now. That's sad. The world needs to know about these things.
And we haven't, and he just gives a good example. So Justin and I both do something which is called an ozone 10 pass. And here's what it is. You put a needle in your arm. You take out 300 cc's of blood. It goes into a sterile container. That sterile container is now being pumped full of 97% oxygen and 3% ozone. Oxygen is O2, ozone is O3. You then take that 300 cc's of blood and you reverse it and pump it back into the body, and you do that 10 times. Now, ozone is a highly unstable molecule. First off, pumping your blood full of oxygen is just good for you.
Right.
But ozone is an unstable molecule. So what happens when you put ozone in your body, you don't breathe ozone, by the way, it's very irritating to your lungs, but when you put it in the blood, wherever there's virus, bacteria, mold, or metals, it will attract to the O3 molecule. Then because O3 is unstable, that molecule erupts. It explodes and destroys what was attached to it. So it takes a virus or a bacteria and it blows it up. And it also activates the immune system, which makes the immune system more capable of defeating not just what the ozone killed, but the immune system itself is now more energized to kill things. And it also helps with mitochondrial dysfunction.
It's amazing.
So mitochondria in your body you've got billions of them, and these are little batteries. And these little batteries put off electricity, which is called ATP, adenosine triphosphate. The more those little batteries, the more ATP those little batteries put off, the more energy you have. As we get older, that mitochondria, we get less of it, it gets tired, it gets old, it's called mitochondrial dysfunction. And this, by the way, folks, is the reason why you can't keep up with a 2-year-old. Because you look and you see the 2-year-old on the playground and he's running back and forth and up the monkey bars and down the slide. It's like, oh my God, where does all that energy come from? It comes from being a body full of brand new mitochondria.
Yep.
The batteries are all new. It's the brand new Tesla versus a 10-year-old Tesla.
Right. Right.
So don't you want your batteries to function more like the 2-year-olds?
Absolutely.
So we now have somebody in HHS who understands this.
Right. This is incredible. Now, tell me more about what happened at Nourishing Change. What's going on at the retail level?
So at the retail level, what we're learning is like Gallup poll shows that 86% of consumers will buy a healthier choice product if all other things are equal.
Mhm.
And when I say all other things, uh, taste, texture, application, uh, price can even be a little more.
Yeah.
I'm willing to pay 10, 20%
Yep.
more for it, but I need everything else to roughly be the same.
Mhm.
So when we're talking about this particular Gallup poll, we're not talking about the what some people would say would be fanatics. You and I
Yeah.
might be considered to be a fanatic
A little bit.
and spend a lot more money on this stuff.
Yeah.
But the general population is saying, as you said, they're trying to eat healthier.
Mm-hmm.
And 86% of them, if you put the, you know, cage-free egg next to the traditional egg, and if it's a little more high, it's a little higher price, I'll go for that one.
Yep.
Or the organic milk
Mm-hmm.
versus the regular milk. Or so this is what we're looking at. So at Nourishing Change, we were talking about how do we make these decisions easier for people? It's through packaging, it's through labeling, it's through advertising. How do we get people to understand how to make these improvements and to make these little improvements, but make lots of little improvements, which eventually have big long term outcomes?
Yep.
Um, and that gets back to our listeners. How do you do that?
Right.
How can you participate in this? And I want people to understand almost every product in every category has a play here.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a pain reliever, whether it's a topical, whether it's a food item, most products have a place someplace in this world
Yep.
where they can lean into this.
Mm-hmm.
It may be nothing more than we're going to replace the plastic jar with a glass jar and
Right.
reduce microplastics.
Right. Well, and Mark, because obviously you've had in this agency, you've had a little bit more of a relationship with Kroger for the last 2 years, and Kroger has been starting the food as medicine movement for years now, and I know that's a
Mm-hmm.
big part of Maha as well. So this is a movement that's happening in the retail space, and so for all of you brands, if you're in retail now, as Mark's talking about, how can you lean into this more? Because this is going to not only establish more value for you with the customers because they're looking for it, but it's also going to establish more value for you with the retailer because this is a movement that they're pushing. Well, for all these new brands, as you talked about earlier with innovation, if you've already been in this space and you've been talking about having clean ingredients and positioning yourself in this way, and this is part of who you are, this may be the opening to get into retailers that you didn't have before, but now you have the chance, and this is going to be part of you understanding what retailer is best for me to start with, because who do I align with from an ethos perspective that my brand establishes more value? This could be your way in. So really start paying attention to these things because this is critical. You could see some products being kicked off the shelf because I can't have you on my store shelf anymore, and that's your opening.
So Kroger opened up the doors for innovative, healthy food products to display at Nourishing Change.
It's great.
They had over 300 applicants. They chose 40 finalists.
Okay.
So 40 companies all got a free booth.
Wow.
And the whole booth was set up and everything. All you had to do was bring your food.
Oh, that's great.
So 40 companies got to bring their food and show it to not only Kroger buyers, but show it to other companies' buyers. Then all of us who attended Nourishing Change voted for our favorite three. And the winning three got to be in 500 Kroger stores for a test market.
That's great.
And the purpose of it here, and I just had this conversation with Kroger executives yesterday, that they want to nourish and help startup brands that are in the food is medicine space and not hurt them. Part of the big goal is let's not do anything to hurt these young companies.
Right.
But how can we help these innovative companies that are truly making products that will make America healthy again and help them get onto our store shelves and help them grow? So Kroger has this move, and Kroger's not the only people doing it. Kroger's at the front of it. But this is a real switch. And I'll tell you why. Because my 30 years in the business has been simply this. You go in and you meet with a buyer. Buyer couldn't care less what's in your product. I don't care what it's made out of. I want it. Does it sell?
Right.
Show me it sells. Now, at the end of the day, you still need to be able to sell.
Oh, for sure. Well, yeah, that never goes away.
But keep in mind that buyer has limited space on the shelves. If that buyer is now faced with, do I add another line of chewing gum or do I add the guaranteed plastic-free chewing gum? If our plastic-free chewing gum person shows, yes, I can sell and I've got history and I've got a marketing plan and I've got an ad campaign, that's going to tilt that decision. Because, all right, we have customers that are looking to feel better. People are now learning that chewing gums have plastics in it. I don't have a solution for those customers. I have plenty of solutions for the other 200 flavors of gum I have, but I don't have a solution for people looking for a healthier one.
Right.
So this can be a tool. It's not the tool, but it is one of the tools that can help you get more shelf space right now.
Absolutely.
And it's exciting to see because ingredients haven't mattered in the past.
No, absolutely not.
The only way we saw ingredients matter in the past is when an ingredient became a trend.
Right.
So like when lidocaine went off of prescription and became OTC, then everybody wanted lidocaine stuff.
Right. Oh yeah, I remember.
I want a lidocaine patch. I want a lidocaine cream. I want a hemorrhoid cream, because now we've got this new numbing agent that we can toss into everything.
And again, we're going to do another show on this topic, so I'm not going to jump too deep into this. But takeaways for some of you brands, again, they're trying to get on shelf. Think about these retailers that are behind this movement, right? Walmart is trying to do more better food. So all the bigger groceries are behind this movement, right? So think about the ones that are really pushing this forward. Kroger is a great one. Then go to the shelf. Look at the shelf, see what's on it, and identify, even just from this information, who you can knock off. Who already doesn't align with this, if you do, that you could get rid of. You're already a step ahead for that meeting.
When he says knock off, he's not saying copy the product. He's saying keep them out of the store.
Get them out of the store. Exactly. Get them out.
So the message here is, how can you use the Maha movement to your advantage? And when it comes to ingredients and chemicals, less is now more.
Yes. And we also understand that some of these formulation changes is probably going to affect your cost of goods. But we just talked about this. Customers are willing to pay a premium, though. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of it at all. Make a better product. It's okay. Customers are willing to pay for it. That comes back to understanding who your customer is.
Are you the European French fry with 3 ingredients, or are you the American French fry with 12 ingredients?
And so you may have to really start evaluating, your manufacturing partners. That's going to be a big part of this. Okay, well, do it now. Because as Mark said, it's not going away.
It's
It's
not.
not going away.
I'm going to tell you right now, Steak and Shake and Shake Shack
Hmm.
are going to steal business from other retailers, other food restaurants right now because of their tallow French fries.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, it's
They
going
are
to happen.
absolutely going to pull business
Yep,
from other restaurants because of this.
yep. And as you talked about at the beginning of the episode, when you talk about kind of what the messaging is as far as the economy and its impact on customers, yes, they are making different choices with their money, of course. But again, getting back to they're buying what they value. So do not hesitate to lean into who your customer is and what they value, because this will ensure that you're not what gets sacrificed, right? You're the product that they decide, you know what, I'm going to spend more for this because I need it. I will cut this other thing, right? That's the goal. That's always the goal. And it still can happen today.
I'm going to give you a great example of some people who really have this right. And it's the dairy line Fairlife.
Mm-hmm.
So they make highly filtered milk
Yep.
where they take half the sugar out. And by the way, it tastes better.
Mm-hmm.
They take half the sugar out and cut the carbs almost in half. It's premium product, premium price. And what most people don't notice is what they think is a half-gallon container of Fairlife is actually 8 ounces short of a half
Right.
gallon.
It is.
It's actually less than a half gallon.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? They're crushing everybody else in the
They
marketplace
are doing just fine. Mm-hmm.
because they made a better product.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they made it better was to have less in the, not only less product, but less items in the jar or in the
Exactly.
bottle. They took sugar. So it wasn't about what they added. They took
Right.
sugar and carbohydrate out of the product.
Mm-hmm. And
What can you do?
absolutely. And for a long time, and it's still true that your Gen Z and your millennial consumers were and still are, right. They're more conscious, they're more educated as far as their nutrition, but that's not the only customers that are paying attention to their health now. And that's also the other message I want to make sure is clear, that every customer right now, every generation is paying attention to these things. Every one of them. So don't think maybe I do, talk to an older consumer. Oh, they don't care. They're stuck in their habits and they're going to buy what they buy. That's not true. It's not true. Don't
People are
pigeonhole
reading the
them.
labels.
Exactly. Everybody is. They're paying attention.
Well, folks, that's it for us for today. Next episode, we're going to cover something that I think is really important.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to cover how do you know what retail stores are the right ones for you,
Yes.
and when should you be determining this? How do you choose them, and where in that store do you belong?
Channel strategy is critical.
Because you need to advise the store where you fit.
Exactly.
And you may not always fit where you think you fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's gonna be a fun episode.
So that's it for today, folks. If you enjoyed today's show, please make sure you go wherever you get your podcast, give us a 5-star review. And remember, you can always reach out to us at cpginsiders.com or jekyllhydelabs.com. And you're always welcome to ask questions. And if we get questions that seem to make sense and we see same questions show up more than once, then we'll do an episode on answering those questions.
Absolutely.
We'll see you on the next episode. Thanks, Justin.
Thank you.
If you're looking to greatly increase sales on your CPG product, don't hesitate to contact us at Jekyll & Hyde Advertising and Marketing. By the way, the only advertising agency with a guaranteed result. Just go to jekyllhydeagency.com or feel free to give us a call at 800-500-4210.